Y'all know who this is. This is Coach Kirkland coming at you again because even though I mentioned Paul Williams before, of course I'm a little late in finding out a couple things. It's okay. I got some pretty dedicated fans that like dropping by and checking me out. So I'm going to give you my version of Paul Williams fight and the Kelly Pavlik fight, right? So like I said before, that Paul Williams are going to be giving people a hard way to go in boxing in his division. Whatever division he move into, whatever weight they decide to sit down at the table and decide about, Paul Williams is going to give people a hard time from 147 pounds all the way up to 167 pounds. He can carry the weight comfortably, and I think that he had been on a strict diet to stay at the at the 147. So, he cleaning, he's doing his job there. He's a cleanup man, and he's gonna work his way on up. I think his next move is 150 something pounds. So, I say that there is talk now. I think there's a date set for Paul Williams and Kelly Pavlik, and hey, I want to start with Kelly Pavlik, okay? And Kelly Pavlik remind me of a Larry Bird. Remember Larry Bird played basketball, right? He was a basic ball player. He went by the book as far as the way he played the ball, played the game. He didn't add any finesse, any fancy stuff. He basically played it the way the game was, written down on paper to play, and he was very good at it that way. But then that's why you have your Michael Jordans, and you have your Shaquille O'Neals, and you have all your, your Pippen, and all the other basketball players who put a little of their own flavor to the basketball business. And now boxing, Kelly Pavlik strike me as he takes his basic 1-2 punches and he brought it with him. It's been a success for him, and that's how you teach guys in a gym. When you first get them in there, you teach them, 1 and 2. You're 1-2, you're 1-2, and he works that very well until he beat up on the other guy to get the title in the first place. Taylor, right? That's his name, Taylor. But for the most part, Kelly Pavlik reminds me of a Larry Bird, kind of a basic player of the business, basic boxer, inside fighting, I haven't seen him do too well at. He had an opportunity to fight inside with Bernard Hopkins, because Bernard Hopkins would shoot a couple of flurries, grab and hold, and Kelly didn't know how to throw the inside punches to actually work with Bernard on the inside. Bernard was actually winning the inside fight. And as far as the boxing, the outside, Bernard wouldn't give him a chance to actually, get his tee off on him. He would shoot the punches and crowd him, shoot the punches and crowd him. So that's shooting his 3 or 4, and then getting close and holding him. So that's basically was the victory for Bernard Hopkins. And it was a technical fight. I thought he played his cards right, because if he tried to box Pavlik on the outside, he more than likely would have gotten beaten up a little more. So I think that he played his cards right, and he got that victory over Pavlik. I like Pavlik because of, I think, the way that he came up. And he came from a little hole in the wall, and I respect people who come from, these little no-name places to actually fight their way into a pretty title fight, a pretty big fight. And I think because that's kind of how I'm starting. I got a hole in the wall. It's for a gym, and the guys that are involved with me, they are hopeful to fight their way out of the hole in the wall and get to a good position in boxing if that's where they want to go with it. But at any rate, that's my take on Pavlik. Do I think that he has enough to beat Paul Williams? I don't think so. That's my opinion. And the take on Paul Williams is that really, for a tall guy, like I said in my other video, I mixed it up in the other video before talking about all these different fighters, but now I want to keep it strictly between Paul Williams and Pavlik. So Paul Williams is he could be either or. He could be a pressure fighter, or he can actually box you from the outside and take his time. And he has learned the inside game for a tall guy, and he's got a crazy underhand punch under his right arm. If you actually box him inside, and you get into all these inside battles and grabbing and all that, and you think that you're holding his right arm and stopping him from actually shooting, and you putting your head over his right arm trying to avoid him, because he can't hit you in the back of the head. We already know that. So instead, Paul Williams would go under this way. He would torque his body and bring the punch up. He did that. He did that with right, and the cameraman caught it just right, and it was an actually solid punch. I think the referee didn't know what to do about that, because you don't see guys doing that type thing. I don't even think Thomas Hearns, as a tall guy, ever did a punch like that I can remember, because I saw most of his fights back in the day. But Paul Williams, man, he tries a lot of things. That's one thing I like about him. He got a lot of heart. He can fight on the inside. He can definitely box on the outside with those long arms. So he's really a double threat. You know, he's a double threat to anybody, especially because of his height. You know, knowing how to box outside, knowing how to box inside. He's got good footwork, because Kelly Pavlik, I watched his footwork on a couple of fights, and he really doesn't move. Kelly Pavlik is really coming straight at you, you know. And Paul Williams is using a lot of angles. I guess that's him putting his finesse on boxing, just like, you know, all the other guys. Actually, even if you think about the smaller, you know, Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, he definitely put his Floyd style to boxing. You know, that's why he's the slick boxer that he is and successful at it. And Manny Pacquiao, you know, he takes the basic and overdo it. He overdo the basics. So in other words, you know, if you get your 1-2 punches together, or 1-2 threes, he's gonna go 3, 6, 9s. You know, he's gonna be throwing 3s, 6, and 9s, and that's his way of throwing, you know, his Manny on it. You know, and Kelly Pavlik, he's definitely gonna have to learn how to improvise with boxing. You know, you can't just stick by the book and expect that to be, you know, your victory through the whole boxing business, as long as you're going to be in it. You know, I don't know how long he plans on being in it. You know, he got $3 million for fighting Bernard Hopkins. It was guaranteed, which was a good payday for him and his people. That was great, man. And I think he's going to get a bigger fight. But I heard another guy say he needs to get his name flowing in the boxing world again, because he really should have done better with Bernard Hopkins. But, you know, being that as it is, you know, that's my take on these two guys. And, of course, a prediction. Everybody likes to hear whose prediction is going to be best or whatever. So that's my prediction. So I'm signing off. And remember what I always say. I tell my fighters, and I'm telling you guys, keep your guard up and stay out of trouble. That's a safe way to play it.